Live from the Ken and Valerie Baker studio at WHYY, this is Studio 2.
On Thursday, June 25th, welcome, friends, on Into the Program. I'm Cherry Gregg.
And I'm Kevin McCory in for Avi Wolfman-Arent. Today on the show, it's a fun one, Cherry.
Yes.
Do you remember Freedom?
I remember Freedom.
The game, Freedom. Just running around at night with your friends playing Freedom.
Yeah,
right?
just living life.
It's summer nights. You're having fun with your friends, and it just feels like the possibilities are endless.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're all a little nostalgic for that time.
Yeah.
So today on the show, we're doing this conversation that you and Avi had recently with a great roundtable of guests. You guys had a blast talking about just like the throwbacks of summer and how maybe we can recreate that in the modern today era.
Yes, the pre-Wi-Fi summers, the before the screens, before social media, before bills. When I was young, and we were just running free. Yeah.
And I have 4 kids at home, and like my wife and I are constantly talking about how can we recreate some of that magic for them, like in this tech environment that we're all in right now.
Yeah.
And so that's why, this was such an enjoyable conversation to listen to. And I think listeners today are going to get a real bang out of it too. And, you can email in studio2@whyy.org with some of your ideas. And we got some parts of the program we can mention that today too.
Yeah, I love that because people want ideas about how to have a low-tech summer, unstructured fun, being actually bored, because that was okay back in the day.
It was
being bored.
Yeah, from the point of view of the parents, maybe.
Yeah, that's true. So we'd love to hear your ideas of what it takes to have a tech-free, screen-free, low-tech summer. Studio 2 at WHYY.org. And we have our trio of local news stories, as we always do. The big story today, that new housing reform bill that cleared Congress this week with wide support from both parties, only to be rejected by President Donald Trump. Well, it has a major local tie. The 21st Century Road to Housing Act, it would have been the first major piece of federal housing legislation in decades. It included a Pennsylvania program that helps homeowners and small landlords pay for repairs. That program offers grants or loans to help people deal with habitability and efficiency issues with affordable housing. It was called the Whole Homes Repair Program, and households that make less than 80% of the area median income, they qualify for grants, and small landlords with affordable housing units can access the loans. And the bill for the program was sponsored by progressive Democrat State Senator Nikhil Saval, and it became law in 2022. And Kevin, it was so popular, but limited because it only had a certain amount of funding. But 18,000 people right now are on the waiting list. So making it a national program, it would be a pretty big deal because there are 200,000 Pennsylvania homes with issues that could possibly benefit from the program. And I should mention that this major, bill that was, passed both houses of Congress, by the way, would have incentivized housing construction, restrict large institutional investors, AKA, private equity, from buying family homes, among other efforts. And it was pretty much backed by many of our local lawmakers. I mean, Senator McCormick, John Fetterman, Andy Kim from New Jersey, Lisa Blunt Rochester from Delaware. So people were hailing this as a win, and it's been stalled by the president.
Right. So you have this massive housing bill, which at the end of the day is just trying to make housing more affordable, and in this, and then this small part of it, which would help people make fixes on their existing homes.
And stay in their homes.
And stay in their homes. And the national legislation was modeled after, like you said, this bill from Nikhil Saval. And what was interesting watching that happen in the Pennsylvania legislature was this was a bill that had bipartisan support from urban Democrats, from rural Republicans, because everybody is facing
the
this
same
issue
problem
of old infrastructure and it being unaffordable to rehab. And here was a tool to do that. And then, basically John Fetterman takes Saval's legislation, makes it national. It passes in a bipartisan manner. And now, again, its fate is in limbo because President Trump is trying to tie its passage to his election reform bill.
Yeah.
And I've seen this play out so many times, too, where you have bipartisan consensus on 80% of something. and something doesn't happen because there's divide on the other
Politics.
20%.
And politics.
And when you try to tie
yeah.
too many things together, it kills it all.
Yeah.
But this looked like a rare example, and maybe it still will be,
Yeah.
of Congress coming together and getting something done despite the political polarization in the country.
Yeah,
we'll
and
see
we'll
where it
see.
goes.
We'll see. We'll be watching this, of course. Story number two.
Well, drop everything, Cherry, because drop is back in the headlines.
Oh,
and
no.
people may know this city program. It's been causing controversy for decades. It's an acronym that stands for Deferred Retirement Option Plan.
Mm-hmm.
And the latest reporting from the Inquirer shows there's a political power couple in City Hall poised to take $750,000 in retirement benefits,
Cha-ching.
even though they don't plan to stop working, right? That's kind of the controversy. So the couple in question is 4th District Council member Curtis Jones and his wife, City Representative Giselle Jones. And let me be clear, we should be clear, nothing here, Cherry, is illegal.
Mm-hmm.
They're just taking advantage of a loophole that has raised eyebrows for years. So DROP, this program starts in the 90s under Mayor Ed Rendell. The idea is it will help city government like incentivize people maybe who are making higher salaries to retire early, save some money. Also, you can plan better. They're going to say, we're going to retire in 4 years. And now you know how to have an exit strategy and find the replacement, all that. And they were selling it at the time as a cost neutral thing. Mm-hmm. Well, it never was cost neutral.
It's very expensive.
Expensive for the city. And then the controversy really came when city council members, elected officials, started using it and basically retiring one day and then getting reelected and then getting a new job, quote unquote, the next day. Yeah. So they get this big lump sum payment that's supposed to be for retirees, but they're still working. And this has caused a conversation for decades.
Yeah.
Where, people were kind of shamed out of running again because they took it. And it's just been this conversation. And, the good government groups like Committee of 70, they don't like this whole like fake out retirement thing.
And what's interesting here is that, Councilmember Jones, when he ran in 2008, he his first year in office, he said he wouldn't,
right.
He was
So
against the whole drop
there.
program. And now he's set to take it. He said that he did have some issues, some glaucoma issues. Right. And so that's why he was going to retire. But I'll say that just because it's legal doesn't mean it's right. And I think, the drop program and this flip flop by Councilmember Jones, it's why so many people are sort of frustrated with city government. They're talking about raising taxes, the $1 a ride share. The mayor's trying to sell this kind of stuff and everything's getting more expensive. But then you have city leaders that are able to get hundreds of thousands of dollars in this way. But
Sherelle Parker, in this instance, is defending this program, as you would say, 10 toes down, saying this is a tool in the toolbox to be able to attract and retain employees.
But then on the other hand, you're trying
to city government, which obviously gets paid less.
And this is, again, why people want new leadership, because they feel like it's just not fair. Things are expensive. So moving on to our third story. Ben Franklin's library here in Philadelphia just got a whole lot steamier thanks to a donation of rare books about, get this, sex.
What?
Yes. And these books date back more than 300 years. So we're talking about old school sex advice, okay? The Library Company of Philadelphia was founded by Benjamin Franklin in 1731, before the United States was founded, okay? And it's celebrating this gift and it's turning heads. Apparently, a retired Harvard history professor donated 1,500 rare books about sexuality, some dating back to the 1600s. And before you get any ideas, the librarians say these books are not pornographic. They're historical books that show how people understood sex, their attitude about sexuality and relationships and reproductive health, and how it sort of evolved over the centuries. Among the collection is a widely popular 17th century book called Aristotle's Masterpiece. Aristotle didn't write this, okay? It was written by the Dr. Ruth of the time, and historians say some of the advice inside was questionable, but the manual was an underground hit for like 200 years. There's also an early book warning readers about the dangers of masturbation, plus books that today would be considered part of LGBTQ plus history.
So we're not like getting the sex diary of Abigail Adams here.
No. But it's like old school, like how to do it, like the reproductive health that people understood hundreds of years ago. So if you're looking for a page turner, this might be one of Philadelphia's more unexpected library editions. You might want to check it out.
And it shines a spotlight on this Franklin Library, which is pretty cool because Ben Franklin, in like even the pre-revolutionary days, was such a revolutionary figure, and he starts this library really with kind of a mission similar to like what Studio 2 does. He wants to get people together, have conversations, advance society by talking things out. And it's his idea, like, hey, if we all pool our book collections together and lend them out, we'll be able to have better conversations and influence society
and have a more educated society. And this is a project people don't realize. Ben Franklin spent more time on the library than any other civic project. This was very important.
Pretty amazing, and it still stands today. And it sounds like there might be a deal for this library to join forces with Temple. So that's kind of like the interesting news hook in here too.
And then you could check out the sexy books. Keep it alive. So we'll be right back after this. We'll talk about low-tech summers. This is Studio 2. Don't go anywhere.